Not only is Vegas a hockey town, it's a championship town.
Well, the Vegas Golden Knights are ready to begin their postseason quest for their second Stanley Cup in 3 seasons. Head coach Bruce Cassidy joining me. Now, coach, it's been a long season, over 6 months of playing games, but the stakes are starting to culminate. What is this time of year like for head coach?
It's exciting because the playoffs are right around the corner, but you're at the end of the grind, so there's a little bit of the fatigue that is set in through the course of the year. But I think our guys know what's at stake coming up here, so let's finish strong, build our game as tight as possible for round one.
You still have that home finale left on Saturday night, fan appreciation night, the jerseys off our backs. How do you look forward to Saturday night against the Predators?
Well, we're looking to clinch our first place, sew up the division title. Hopefully we do that. Guys are in a good place. Fans, they've always been behind us from day one, so happy we can give back a little bit. I think the players enjoy that night. So, as I said, hopefully we do it with a smile on our face and 2 more points in the bank.
Well, it's been a busy couple weeks, clinching a playoff spot, clinching home ice advantage for the first round, and like you said, on Saturday you can clinch that 1 seed. How do you see this team really rounding into shape at the right time?
Well, we've played good hockey for the last, I think since the Four Nations breakout. We were not quite winning as many as we'd like, but we were playing well. Our game's in good order. So that part's good. Aiden Hill's played really well coming off of that tournament. We're getting healthy. We lost a few guys, so we get a couple other guys that get a little more responsibility. They step up, so you're team building in that regard. But we're hoping, knock on wood, we get through these 3 games and get a few of our guys that have been out the last little bit back in the lineup. So we'll see how that plays out. But if we're healthy, I think we're as good as anybody. But you got to get going before you can find that out.
Well, the Golden Knights are 15-5-3 since that Four Nations break, which is among the best in the NHL. You've won 3 of your last 4, but like you said, it's so important to stay healthy. Jack Eichel's missed 2 games, Petranglo's out, Haig is out. What's your mindset toward just trying to get healthy when it matters most?
I think these guys they want to get back in the lineup. You can't, push your health. It comes around when it comes around, but a lot of these guys are out skating that you mentioned, so that's a good thing. Whether they can get in some games before the playoffs, we'll see. If not, a lot of the guys you referenced are veteran guys. They've been through it, so I don't know how many reps they need. That'll be kind of a little bit up to them to make that decision. But as I said, as many healthy bodies as you can have going in, because it's a grind once you get in.
Well, last season ended with a hard-fought 7-game series against the Dallas Stars, obviously a rival of this team. What feels different this year now that you've reached over 100 standing points for the 3rd time in franchise history? The other 2 times, you made the final.
Yeah, I mean, last year was very uneven. Coming off the Cup win, there were some ups and downs with the long grind of the playoff season. This year seems like we're much more consistent, especially out of the second half going into the playoffs. As you said, our record's pretty strong compared to the rest of the teams. From the Four Nations tournament on, it's a good measuring stick. So I think that's the biggest difference. Seems to be a little more chemistry within the group. Last year, we'd added some people and they were hurt, so we're trying to get them in the lineup, get them up to speed for the playoffs, find out who was mixing with who. This year, there's a little less of that, even though there's guys out. It's given other guys an opportunity. We did pick up at the trade deadline to get more reps. Riley Smith, although he's very comfortable here, getting him back in the mix. Brandon Saad has played every game since we picked him up, so finding spots for those guys I think is important, and I think they're just that much more comfortable.
Well, entering last season, there was so much more continuity. So many players from that Cup-winning team returned, and that was different this season after an offseason full of turnover with the roster. What have been some pleasant surprises that you've had entering a season that you didn't really know what to expect?
Yeah, listen, we had confidence in the guys we had coming back. We lost some key guys. It happens, salary cap era. That's the hockey world, so circle of life, so to speak. But we knew we had some younger players we thought we could take a bump. Take a step in their production. Pavel Dorofeyev is probably the best example. We saw his ability to score goals over the years. Give him the extra minutes. Could he handle it? Power play time. He did. A guy like Olofsson comes from Buffalo. We knew he could score in this league. Could he play Vegas-style hockey? He has. Internally, you got Brett Howden, who's had a career year. Kolasar, a little more responsibilities. Those guys that have been Golden Knights for a while have kind of bumped themselves up in the order. So good for them. Korzak's played a lot of time this year. We thought, with a regular shift as much as possible, he could take a step. So I'd even put Aiden Hill in that as a starter. I think this will be if he plays tomorrow, it'll be his 50th game. He's going to play 50 this year. He's never done that in his career. So he's another guy that's taken a step. So good for those guys all around, and good for our organization for identifying those players that could do it.
Well, it was a bumpy path last season in some stretches, and you didn't enter the postseason as a 1 seed, but you still had a target on your back as the defending Stanley Cup champs. What is that hunger like this year, especially knowing how well the team has been doing?
Yeah, listen, we were disappointed we didn't advance last year. It didn't matter what seed we were. We felt we had a good enough group of players that we could take another run at. Unfortunately, we're 1 goal short. We lost, by a goal in Game 7. And that happens against good teams. This year, I think we know the importance of the home seed, less travel, an extra game in your building if need be. That can make a difference along the way. It certainly did 2 years ago, and hopefully that's the case again this year.
Yeah, and of course the Vegas-born nation in this community would love to see another cup run like we saw in 18 and 23.
So would this guy right here. He'd love to see another one.
And I know right now you're dotting your I's, crossing your T's to make that happen. You personally as a head coach, once you hoist that Stanley Cup as a head coach, what's the motivation like to do it again?
Well, it's a good question. I think there's the hunger within you that, it feels so good the first time, you want to repeat it. You just want to do it over and over. And there's a lot of work that goes into it. We found that out last year. It's a grind, and people want what you have, right? And there's a little bit of that. When we won our first one, there was a certain sense of relief that there's a lot of guys that were close in 17, 18. I was with Boston the next year, that you want to finish the job. So that's what you're competing against too, don't forget, teams that have been close. So there's a lot of teams that want it out there that have been close. We've gotten it, and now we know what the feeling's like. And last year, we're disappointed we weren't able to repeat. So here's the opportunity in front of us again. I think that's the feeling you have, is we know what it takes. It's not easy. In fact, it hurts to win, is what we said years ago. And so that's what's in front of us. But I think, we're ready for the challenge.
Well, you mentioned recently that usually through the season you don't talk to your guys about standings or stakes, but this late in the season you almost have to. And the 2 likeliest opponents in the first round for the Golden Knights are the Minnesota Wild and the St. Louis Blues. And I'm not sure you don't take a lot of stock into that. You're not looking that far ahead. But are there certain situations and scenarios that you're kind of hoping pans out for the playoffs?
No, I'm hoping we finish first, right? And we control that. That's the only thing I care about, is how we're playing. Our opportunity in front of us. And we have an opportunity to clinch the division tomorrow. So let's take care of business on our end, walk through the front door, so to speak, and our opponent will be who it'll be. Both good teams. Any team that makes the playoffs now in the NHL, there's 16 out of 32. They're good teams. It's not like you're automatically in. So it doesn't matter to me. St. Louis has played really well recently. They're one of the hottest teams in the league. Have missed the playoffs for a few years, so do they have the experience? Minnesota, getting guys back, have been in the playoffs, haven't had the success they want, but they've been there, so are they hungry to advance, an extra round? So each team's going to have their challenges, strengths and weaknesses, so we get who we get, and you don't get upset, so to speak, and hopefully you just take care of your own game.
Yeah, the home finale Saturday night should be a special one, hoping to lock up that 1 seed. 2 more road games to go after that, and then it's playoff time. Bruce, thanks so much, and best of luck this postseason.
All right, thanks, Nick.